Take a look at this painting. Most would recognize this as the Mona Lisa, a creation of the famous Renaissance artist Leonardo da Vinci. Despite its creation dating back to the 16th century, many would consider it to be common knowledge. This goes to show the extent to which the Italian Renaissance art has assisted in artistic development. This brings us to rising influence throughout the Renaissance. Good afternoon, I am Tyler D.
I'm Lexi Beeson.
I'm Fernando Lopez.
And I'm Camila Arnaldo. Building on what Tyler said, art has had a significant impact throughout history and its evolution. It has been an essential part of human existence, which has served as a medium of communication even before written language was invented. From the earliest of times to the Renaissance masterpieces, art has continuously evolved to reflect the social, artistic, and religious aspects of each era.
Our research question is, how have aspects of Italian Renaissance art been influenced by the development of social perceptions by looking at social views and religious aspects?
After extensive research, we have come to the conclusion that the beginning of the Renaissance caused a major shift in artists' social power, which eventually led to developments in artistic approaches. John Robb, a professor and researcher at Cambridge University, explained that in prehistory, power took radically different forms than it did in urban societies. The Italian Renaissance was a period between the 15th and 16th century that emphasized the initial development of newfound culture as it spread across Europe and caused one of the major cultural revivals after centuries of the Dark Age. As seen in this prehistoric cave painting, there were many animals being painted that were native to the region with most simple resources and few artistic assets. This happened because back in the prehistoric era, people rarely lacked a sense in modernism and found that it lacked power in society. Adding on, the things that were being painted were things seen in day-to-day life. For example, animals, regions, and outlines. In contrast to those paintings, The Birth of Venus, painted during the Renaissance by Sandro Botticelli, emphasized a new way of thinking for the Renaissance. This included a shift in power that highlighted the different aspects of developing aspects of the Renaissance, like Greek mythology, rebirths of societies, and social and cultural changes.
Through the developments of stylistic approaches as visible in this painting, art's value began to increase dramatically. The rising demand of artwork led to artists themselves being better appreciated, allowing them to achieve a higher social status in Renaissance society. An example of such an artist would be Isabella D'Este. In the words of Whitney Mosley, a graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi, through her calculated self-fashioning of images that portrayed her as well-educated, cultured, and powerful, Isabella D'Este used portraiture to gain access to typically male-exclusive spheres of the North Italian court. This illustrates the prominence of Renaissance art, as it was the root cause behind the rise of several artists such as Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, as mentioned prior. Such individuals were influential in the spread of art in its predominantly Catholic population, leading to a revolutionary expansion in artistic technique, which allowed for the development of various religious expressions through the use of art.
Religious art had an increase throughout the Renaissance due to religious freedom. While it helped increase the status of artists, it also helped increase the attention on religious art. An example is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. As you can see, there's Jesus sitting at the table with his disciples surrounding him. This shows how much religion had an influence on art and the authority that the church had on the people, because it influenced artists to draw about more religious stuff. Another example of the church's influence over art is the representation of the Virgin Mary in art. As shown by a professor of art history from the Complutense University of Madrid, we can see that the Catholic Church used the representation of the Virgin Mary to represent their religion, which was inspired by church fathers. As representation of the Virgin Mary spread, more people started to collect art, which led to art let art to join the religious culture, increasing the symbolism in art, increasing the use of symbolism in religious art.
This painting shows different religious events in the Roman Catholic history by showing the crucifixion up here, as well as the dead rising and descending to their fate. It depicts the main belief that Christ will return again to judge us all and decide whether we'll go to heaven or hell. A professor at a Catholic university in Poland said, "Images of the final judgment represented in great numbers in paintings and frescoes were of particular importance in the Middle Ages." This painting by Michelangelo illustrates the creation of the first man, Adam. Through the touch of their fingertips, it also represents the biblical belief that God created man in his image by them looking similar. Certain aspects of religion were often illustrated in Italian Renaissance art because religion was important to the people of that time. The Catholic Church had a lot of power then, so many of the churches had funded these paintings.
Several religious developments in art originated from the rising power of artists throughout the Renaissance, some which were the use of art to represent religion and the creation of many famous art pieces like the Mona Lisa. Thank you.
All right, Camilla, we'll start with you and then work our way across. One question for each of you. Camilla, if you had another team member, so if there were 5 people on your team, what's another perspective they could bring in that would help your presentation overall?
Well, a perspective that they could bring in is the perception of beauty during the Renaissance, because it was mostly used in many different paintings, since it was a new way of thinking, and that was what was expected during that era.
All right, thank you. Fernando, what's a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about the research you conducted?
Well, it helped me to understand that art was used for more than just religious things, but it also it helps show the change over time of art.
Okay. Lex, if you're reflecting on your colleagues' work, so the other 3 in the group, which one had the greatest impact on your understanding of the Renaissance?
I would say Fernando's perspective of religion, because it just showed how religion played such a key role.
All right, thank you. I'm scribbling. And Tyler, last one. What's the compelling argument from one of their IRRs that you chose to not use, and then why didn't you use it?
Well, there was a portion of Lexi's argument that we decided not to use that did involve a part of beauty, as we had some level of trouble implementing that and incorporating that into our argument, as under the time constrictions, we weren't sure how we should actually add that and connect it to the rest of our arguments.